Hello.
Hey, babe.
How are you today?
I'm doing great. How about yourself?
All right, let's start off by telling everybody why you joined the military.
Okay. Wow. Where do I begin? Let's see. I joined the military back in 1991 when I was a junior in high school.
Okay.
And one of the reasons why I joined was because I have three uncles who also served into the military. And as a young child, I was very, very, very bad, even though I don't think I was that bad. But I've often been told I was a bad child, so I would have to go stay with my grandfather. And my uncles used to live there in the same house. And I would always hear stories about the military, about Vietnam, about how bad it was, and how a bullet doesn't have a name.
Yeah.
Be careful what you do. They taught me so much about the military. And when I was in high school, I had some friends who I respected, but maybe I knew that I could have done better for myself as far as being a good role model, but I wanted to fit in a lot. So one day, me and my brother from a different mother and father, we were in high school, and a recruiter came up to us named Sergeant First Class Dale R. Ford. I'll never forget his name. And he asked us, he said, "Would you like to get out of school today?" Sound like you heard this story before.
That's how they get you.
That's how they get you. So I looked at my brother. I said, "Hey, yeah, that'd be great. We can get out of school. What have you? Yeah." He said, "Yeah, we can go to Oklahoma City. And then, you just have to take a test. And then the next day, we go ahead and process you. And right now, you just joined the National Guard. It's 1 week drill a month. It's 2 weeks a year in the summertime. You go to basic training. You'll come back, finish your high school year, and you'll get shipped off again." So I was pretty excited. I was like, "Okay, yeah, let's do this." So me and my brother went up to Oklahoma City, and we did the test at maps and everything, and he didn't pass. So I was thinking, well, hold on, I'm not going to do this. If I can't go with my brother, and this is the reason why I'm just not going to do this. He said, "Oh, don't worry about it. Don't worry. He can take the test again, and he'll pass, and it'll be just fine, and he'll catch up with you." Yeah. So I said, "Okay." I raised my right hand for 11 Hotel Infantry. Mm-hmm. And the whole time I was thinking, 11 Hotel. I'm about to work in a hotel. This is about to be a good time. Can you believe this? And the guy was like, "Yeah, yeah." And I was like, "Well, but infantry, I kind of knew what infantry was."
Yeah.
But he said, "I'm going to work in a hotel." So I believed him.
So he said you were going to work in a hotel?
Yes. He said, "Oh, we're going to work in a hotel." And even though I heard all these stories, I really never committed myself to go into the military.
Yeah.
So when they said that, I was like, yeah, I could do that. So I wasn't really focusing on the college. I was focused on getting away from my hometown. Mm-hmm. Because I was hanging out with people. I mean, we were all probably bad, and we was not as bad as we thought that it would be if you were living in California or somewhere. Because I told you, girl, I came from the hood.
But you said as bad as we thought. Like, so you didn't think you were bad, but everybody else said you was bad.
Right. And I didn't think I was bad. But if I look back on my life, man, I've done, I hate to admit this, but I've been in a couple of drive-by shootings, and I didn't even know that was the intention of it. I was just...
You were just along for the ride?
They just started shooting. I was like, "What are you shooting at?" Yeah, it was pretty bad. Luckily, we didn't hurt anybody. We didn't kill anybody. And this happened to me 2 times. And the sad part about it is that when it happened the second time, I was with a friend, and we went on top of what we call the hill. And my friend pulls out a gun on a crowd. My brother is in the crowd. My older brother's in the crowd. My friend's also in the crowd. And here it was like, is that Reggie? Is he in the car? Oh my goodness. I was like, what in the world did I get myself into? And that wasn't just once or twice that happened, but it was fighting. It was a lot of racial tensions. It was pretty bad. And I always consider myself, well, it's not as bad as Compton or, LA. But when you look back, it was pretty bad. And I was just bad growing up. My mother, single parent, raised on welfare and supporting 5 kids. It was not easy. But I knew there was no way I could stay there. I had to get out of my hometown. If I wanted to better myself, and I had all these issues growing up, I just said, there's a better me somewhere, and I got to find it. But this life that I'm living right now is not for me. It's just not. So I shipped off, and I went to basic training by myself. That was the first time I ever flew on an airplane by myself.
So did your brother ever retake the test?
After he heard the stories that I was telling, oh,
You told him it wasn't a hotel job, huh?
oh boy, they will say anything they can to get you in some boots.
But for me, your family didn't tell you that it wasn't a hotel, or they didn't have any idea either.
I only got stories about Vietnam, and I didn't. No one ever told me about all these different jobs, and no one I knew was in the Air Force or the Navy. I don't even think I knew about all the different services. It
Yeah.
was like Army
Yeah.
and Army and Army and Army. That's all you're gonna get. Yeah, and Army, and put your boots on and lace them up tight because you're shipping off, guy.
So when did you cross over to active duty?
Excuse me.
When did you cross over to active duty?
So when I came back after my senior year, I shipped off and went to Fort Benning, Georgia. Came back, got married, had 1 kid, and I was working at a chicken plant. And let me tell you, every single day I would walk into this big refrigerated building, and it was about 40 degrees. And every day I said, man, I'm going to quit this job today. I'm quitting. Boss come to me and say, hey, would you like to do a double shift? Yes, sir. I'll stay and do another 8 shift. And I was doing that because I was trying to make ends meet and provide for my family.
Yeah.
I wanted my family to have something better than I ever had. Not to say that we went without growing up. Just our mama never let us see that we were going through some hard times.
Okay.
She said, if you're thirsty, swallow your spit. If you want to eat cereal during the day, you better go to sleep early, and you wake up and get your cereal. And you only get in one bowl, because this is all we have. You're laughing, babe.
I'm not laughing, but you had to go to sleep to eat some cereal.
Yes, those were the days.
That was your life, right?
Yeah, that was my life, and I loved every bit about it. I mean, it was. I blame myself because I was so mad at everybody else that I was taking my anger out of. I was mad at myself because of everything that I had and all the disabilities. But I would take it out on them, and I was just angry at them. And because I was so bad that Mama had to send me to my grandfather's house, but I was mad.
Were
What's that?
you bad? How did you cross? How did you cross that line from the chicken plant and being in the guard to full blown active duty? This is it. We doing it.
Oh yeah. So because of that, working at the chicken plant, I just I looked around. I said, I can't do this. I want something more for me and my family.
Yeah.
And then I went to a recruiter and I said, hey, I want to go active duty. I want to ship out as soon as possible.
So the same recruiter that got you in?
No, it was a different recruiter. It was Sergeant West.
Okay.
Sergeant First Class West. I can't believe I remember that name. But he had me on backlog or on hold for 6 months because at the time the Army didn't need me that moment, and plus I had to kind of clear my time with the National Guard and do all the paperwork there in order for me to go. But on November the 3rd, 1993, I got shipped off right up the street to Fort Riley, Kansas. It's the coldest place in the world to me.
Yeah, to you, because I was in Montana and that
Oh,
place.
it's colder than that. It's colder than Montana, girl.
So you ain't never been to Montana, so you don't know.
You're right. You're right, babe. I've never been, but it's the coldest in West Point in Germany. I've been to both of those places, and
Yeah.
it's
Well,
brutal. But that's
cool.
why I started my active duty career. Again, 1993 in November.
Okay. So what kept you in?
Well, I'm a 3-year man because the first 3 years as a young soldier, and you on and in infantry, just so everybody that's listening, the infantry is really no skill.
Mhm.
All military members go to basic training. Well, infantry is continuation of basic training. So when you leave basic training and you go to your first duty station, you may do logistics, you may do some in the medical field or what have you. For me, I'm still shoot, moving, communicating. 3 to 5 second rush.
Yeah.
That was my job every day, and to be on every detail and KP, it was rough. I said, I can't do this. And I'll never forget Sergeant First Class Lionel Jones. He laughed at me and he says, just wait. When you make more rank, it's going to get a lot easier. You're not going to be on every detail. You want to stay in the Army. For me, I'm like, that is not happening.
Yeah.
I'm getting out. When these 3 years, I'm getting out. I can't wait. I got all these plans. And sure enough, within that 3 years at Fort Riley, I became a corporal. Then I made sergeant. And then I was put in charge of some soldiers. And I was a Bradley commander at the time. And I had a platoon sergeant named Sergeant Tucker. And Sergeant Tucker was the hardest man that I've ever met.
Okay.
Like, he was hard, but he was fair. Meaning hard is that you better ask permission on what you're doing or else he's coming down. But he wouldn't allow anyone to talk to you the way he does.
Okay.
So he instilled that hard discipline in us and let us know what's the most important is to take care of your soldiers, take care of your equipment, and don't let anybody mess with people in our platoon.
Okay.
And just getting that instilled in me at a young age, I decided, well, let me just stay a little bit longer. Let me stay a little bit longer. So I went off to Fort Benning, Georgia.
Okay.
And my marriage was already on the ropes.
Okay.
But I went. Now we have two daughters. And Fort Benning, Georgia was great. It was completely different. That's what I love about the military is that you only have to suck it up 2 to 3 years at one installation. And then you can move somewhere else and get a whole new environment, whole new culture. They act different. They do different things. And you might like, wow. But the thing is, now that I already been enlisted, no more complaining.
Yeah.
No more complaining. So from there, I went to Ranger School, and I went to Ranger School as a sergeant. Actually, I went to Ranger School as a staff sergeant at E6, but I never wore the rank because I got promoted on the 1st, and I left the Ranger School on the 4th.
Okay.
So when I completed Ranger School, I put on a Ranger tab and on a staff sergeant rank. From that day on, I got treated so different, and it's surprising that what you wear on your chest and what you wear on your shoulder, or anything that you have on that shows excellence, that you're improving yourself and climbing the ladder, you start to gain this respect. Mm-hmm. Instant respect just by first impression, just by seeing you. And I realized that the Army's for me. I like this. Okay. And then you get a big Ranger bonus too. So that was a $20,000 bonus. But that's another story that we can talk about another time.
So you promoted, but didn't put the tab on?
I didn't put the rank on because in
Oh.
Ranger School, you're not allowed to wear rank.
Ah, okay. Now,
Yes. So you go there not knowing what each other's
nobody
rank. That way,
saying,
yes, everybody say, but you knew who the officers
yeah.
were. But there's a couple that I didn't. So I decided then that was my place, the military. And at first, it's hard to accept the way of life in the military because I was set in my ways. I thought I was hard. I thought, ain't nobody gonna tell me to do nothing. If I don't think it's right, it's my way or nobody's way. Until Sergeant Sanders, big dude, really big, like 6'4", 280 pounds. Where you been? I was like, man, who you talking to? He came with me, he pushed me in the music. Where you been? I said, you better tell me where you been. He flexed on me. And I was like, this dude think he must have got me confused with somebody else. And sure enough, he set me down, he counseled me, and he put me in my place. And I needed that because the military doesn't have time for people to act like you from the hood or from the street. And that's what got me the most was that this guy, he cared about me. He put me in my place because he told me he'd been there.
Yeah.
He was grew up in the hood, and I'm glad he taught me that and set me straight then. And that was the one of the reasons why I stayed.
How many times have you deployed?
I've deployed, so I don't call Kosovo a real deployment, but I deployed in Kosovo in 1999.
Okay.
And then I deployed to Saudi City, Iraq in 2004. And then 2008, I deployed again. We can talk about that if you like.
We're gonna have to talk about it now that you didn't say we could talk about that if you like, but we're gonna go ahead on. And then, did you have one more?
Yes, I had one more. I deployed in 2013 when my beautiful wife was pregnant, and I didn't make it home for the labor and the delivery. I owe you, babe. I love you, girl, and you hard, but it's not my fault. That was military calls, and I had to strap my boots on and roll out.
So we'll go back to the 2008 one, right?
Yeah, 2008. Yes.
When did you get to the Iraq?
When did I get to Iraq? In 2008. I got there in November.
Because I didn't get there till
October, November.
July.
Yes, July. Yes.
Yeah. So that, for all who are watching, that's where we met in Iraq. And originally, when we went as a 9-man team.
Mm-hmm.
As a 9-man team, and in our training in Jersey, they started giving out the orders to where everybody was going to go, and mine wasn't where I ended up. It was somewhere else. And then once we got to, I want to say, wherever that final place is with the big tent, I don't even remember. That's when they were like, oh, we're going to change you. We're going to switch you, and you're going to go to this place, and somebody else is going to go here. So, originally, I wasn't supposed to be in the same location as you. But yes, for me, now you said you knew then you were going to stay, but
Yes.
what?
Well, I can't say I knew then I was going to stay. I knew at that time, every 3 years they came up, because only time I did 6 years is when I graduated Ranger School now for the big Ranger bonus.
Yeah.
And it was like, you stay 6 years, you get $20 bonus. I'm like, well, let's do it then.
Yeah.
But only way I could do that if I served in a Ranger position, not a Ranger regiment, but within now it's mechanized infantry then. They have certain Ranger slots within the mechanized infantry, so I always had to serve in one of those. I couldn't go somewhere else and fill a slot.
Yeah.
So every 3 years, I had to do something. So when I went to Germany, my my battalion Command Sergeant Major Dietrich, great guy, Ranger Regiment guy, hard charger. He said to me, he said, "Hey Ranger, how many master gunners you know?" I said, "Well, I know like 7, 8, probably more than that. How many Rangers do you know?" I says, "Well, I know, I know several, or Ranger qualified guys." I said, "I know several." He said, "Now, how many Ranger qualified and master gunners certified do you know?" And I said, "Well, I don't know any." And he said, "Well, let me tell you, there's about 3 or 4 right now." He said, "You want to be competitive in the military. If you're going to stay in the military, you need to be competitive. Even if you don't stay in the military, you need to be competitive, and you need to have all the education and training that the military can offer you in case you go to combat, that training will save your life." Like I said, the bullet doesn't have a name, but you want to be have the best training that the military can offer you. And so I went to master gunner school, and I passed, and I became one of the very few airborne rangers. And well, airborne was next, but ranger and master gunner qualified. And I looked at that. It's like, well, now I didn't do it to be a part of the elite group, or I didn't do it to say, "Hey, look at me, this is what I've done." My only reason of doing that was to receive the training. So I could have failed on the last day, and I wouldn't have minded at all.
Mm-hmm.
I just wanted that training because listen to all those Vietnam stories that my uncles used to tell me. Man, they really put the fear of the bullet in me. So I wanted to make sure that I was well trained. So when I did that, I knew I was on the road to success. I just made sure that wherever I go in my career, that I teach my soldiers to be better than me, and I treat them with dignity and respect, and that's why I continue to stay. And then just when I went there, I went to Fort Hood, and I went to Sadr City, Iraq, and we lost a bunch of soldiers. And for the viewers out there, the book written by Martha Raddatz, Long Road Home, and so on. You can find a lot of stuff out there. But I was stop loss, and I then extended just enough to get me through the deployment because I knew that I was not going to go to combat and not be there for my soldiers. I don't want to go 6 months. I want to do the whole year.
Mm-hmm.
So when we got there on April the 4th, we lost a lot of soldiers, and a whole lot of soldiers within the battalion, either AKIA and over 70 something wounded. So I knew the only way to get my soldiers back was to be out front, to lead by example, and never ask them to do something I wouldn't do myself. So that's the reason why I stayed and I was committed to them. But halfway through the deployment, that's when my old battalion commander, retired Lieutenant General Valesky, had pulled me in his office and says, "Hey, let's talk about this. Are you planning to get out?" And I said, "Yes, sir. I'm going to get out as soon as I get back." He says, "Well, as a commander, as a military officer, my goal or my job is to develop leaders. My job is to make sure that the Army is taken care of. So therefore, I'm going to have to remove you from your position and put a young Sergeant First Class who just came from the States in your platoon in your position, so I can give him the experience in order to carry on with the Army and help train soldiers." And I took it personal because I'm thinking, wait a second, sir, you telling me that you're going to pull me from my platoon right now after everything we've been through? And he says, "What do you expect me to do?"
It's not about you.
Yeah, it's not about you. You're right, baby. It's not about you. But for me at the time, I was like, no, this is about me.
Yeah.
And it took a while. He sent me home, and I talked to my family there, and he said, "Go home, make a decision, and then come back, and we'll talk about it."
Wait,
And
home,
like in Germany,
oh, you
I
were
was stationed in Germany at the time.
okay.
No, was I stationed? No, I was not. I was stationed on Fort Hood. I'm sorry, but my ex was in Germany, so I had to go home, which I missed Alicia's birthday, the birth of her in Germany. So sitting on the Fort Hood,
Yeah.
my ex was in Germany.
So you, in the midst of the deployment, you got
In
flown.
the midst of a deployment. Yes, that's right.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
He said, we're going to send you home, talk to your family, come back, and then we'll decide on what you're going to do. If you, I said, well, what does that mean, sir? He said, well, if you decide you want to get out, then I have to replace you. So I
And then
went
you
home.
deployment?
Yes.
I'm confused. Like,
During the deployment,
yeah.
he sent me home on, I'm sorry, R&R leave.
Okay.
So I don't know how long it was, but
Yeah.
and he said, when you come back to Sardar City, to the camp, we'll talk about this. If you decide to get out, then I have to replace you.
So this was this before all the lives were lost?
Yeah, this is after the lives were lost.
Ah, okay.
Yes, this was after the lives were lost. So I went back and we had a discussion. I said, sir, I says, I decided to stay. And reason why that was so hard, because that was my 10th year roundabout. So if I reenlist, now I have to do another 10.
Mm-hmm.
There's no more 3 years and 6 years.
Yeah.
So I say, you know what, sir, I'm going to suck it up for the next 10 years because I'm not going to leave my soldiers in combat.
Mm-hmm.
And he says, I respect that. And he says, so what do you want to do after this? I said, sir, I want to go drill sergeant school. And then Colonel Abrams was now General Abrams, and him, Sergeant Small, they came in. They says, so Sergeant Small looked at me and said, what? You want to go drill sergeant school? He said, that ain't for people like you. We're going to send you to West Point. You could go train these future officers. I said, well, sir, Sergeant Major, that's not what I want to do. I want to be a drill sergeant. I want to do this. I want to do that. He says, no. He says, that's not going to happen. He said, you let them young staff sergeant, these young sergeant first class do that, but you need to go teach future officers. Make a long story short, we finished that deployment. We lost a few more soldiers after that within a battalion. We kept the fight going, but I made that commitment, and I don't regret
My
it.
God, you went back after all those lives were lost. That commitment was
Yes,
already made, right? That decision was.
yes, and some soldiers didn't come back, but I was committed. I mean, if I say I'm going to do something as a leader, and plus, in the military, it's all about your name. It's all about your last name. It's my old command sergeant major from that time, Rodriguez. He always says it's your character. It's about your last name. You know, and I truly believe that it is. So I stayed, and we never got replaced the whole time. We probably fought eight months out of 12 months. It was rough, but it made a bond of soldiers, and that's one thing that I loved about the military is that the bond that you create within soldiers when they become your own family.
Yeah.
So when you go through the hard times, or even not even hard times, just the bond you create within the military. So, when I came back, I went to West Point from there, and that was great. Coach teaching and mentoring future officer. I loved it. First, I hated it. I'm not gonna lie. It's a culture shock because I was still thinking, hey, they're high speed. What in the world do you have on? Where is your uniform? There's things up there that just, it's funny now, but at the time I had just gotten back from combat, and here I am. All I see is a uniform.
Yeah.
And when I see a uniform, you better be straight head to toe. Your
Yeah.
haircut, your boots shine. Oh, and it just that they wanted to see it as, well, it's my college time.
Oh
No,
yeah.
they're high speed. You want to go to regular college, you go to ROTC. You go ahead and pack your bags and move out.
Yeah.
So that was hard. And then, so West Point, I went back to Germany. Things didn't work out with my past relationship. And sure enough, I landed in a great battalion. And from there, I deployed to Iraq. And that's where I thought I was, as some people would say, kind of, you know.
You thought you was the man? Is that what the word?
Well, I'm not
Or
saying that. If you want to say that,
you thought you was the hot stuff on the block,
I
right?
didn't think I was a hot stuff on the
No.
block. I'm just saying, I was pretty confident within myself.
You You were the sawed off. What rank were you then?
I was the first sergeant. No, I was a master sergeant when we first got there, and then they moved a first sergeant because I was the only E8. All the other first sergeants were frock. They were E7s.
Yeah.
And put on first sergeant frock as an E8. So that it was the only amount of time. And my good friend Sergeant Major Salinas, he made sure that he took care of me and put me in that position. So but when we moved to another FOB, I was already a first sergeant with the infantry company.
Yeah.
And I had some high speed soldiers. Oh man.
I mean,
the Venom Company, they were high speed.
Let's talk about how let's talk about how when you was on this last deployment, how you couldn't let your soldiers go without you. You leave from the front. Ask where this E8 was on this deployment. Let's just talk about that.
So yeah. Let's go ahead and talk about that because I realized I was that guy though. I try to be out front. Yeah. But I got reeled in. Here's how I got reeled in. Because when we moved to that FOB that we met, I was staying in the tents with my soldiers. But my command team, my battalion command team was like, no, we have a chew for you and your commander.
Yeah.
I'm like, so you expect me to live in a chew, a combined housing unit, like a storage? What do you call those things? Containers?
Connex box.
Yeah, like a Connex with, it was all right for deployment.
I mean, better than y'all you normally do, right? Because y'all be in them tents, them 100 people tents.
Yeah, and we're fine with that because we're creating a bond.
No, we don't need to be that close. No,
we don't need to be that close.
No.
Well, it's great because we're like a big family, and we take care of each other. We just
but then y'all. Truth be told, is it like that great of a relationship when y'all in them sleeping in them 100-man tent?
Well, you don't have any privacy. I tell you that much. And some people tend to not bathe like they should or do personal hygiene. And I had that one young.
That's the Army community.
Young lieutenant, I love him to death, but I used to go over there and say, hey, come on. Let's go, sir. Pick your laundry up. We're going to go wash your clothes. Come on.
That's nasty.
But yeah, so that was when they told me, they said, listen, at some point in your career, when you start making rank, you got to start to separate yourself. So now you're E8, you're a first sergeant. You're not a young soldier anymore. And I got it. You want to be able to lead by example. But we also got to make sure that you have the time and you have the space that you need to focus on your company without everybody being in your business. And so I did, but it was kind of hard. But I had a good ranger buddy named Adam Bowman. That was, we were like best friends downrange. So we did everything together, worked out together, told lots of stories, and which I'm pretty sure we're going to get to in a little bit.
I mean, at this point, how we got introduced was Chief said, oh, we need to go work out. We need to build a family. I don't want to be a family. I want to do what I got to do. I want to go about my business, and I want to do just be. Ain't nobody got time for this. He's like, no, we gotta be together. I was like, you can be together. The first time he had us go to the gym with these dudes that always in the gym.
Hey, that was our guys.
These fools didn't show up.
Well,
I was like, you have me up in here. I worked out in the morning. I did everything. I showered, went to dinner, and we shut it down. He wanted me to go to work out at freaking 7 o'clock at night with these fools that get caught up in a meeting or whatever it was. I was like, this is what you want us to be a family with? They late. They asked us to be here. Then he was
like, on army time.
I don't know what that is. Y'all walking talking about, oh, hey, now they're here. Let's go work out. I said, we've been here for an hour waiting for them. No, I'm going to go, oh, well, she needs somebody to run with. I swear to God, y'all, I tried to. He said, what time you run? I said, what was it, 5:30? Oh, okay, yeah, I'll be out there. This is me. I tried to show up at 5:15. I was like, I'm gonna go out early. I'm gonna just run. So I ain't got to run with him. I don't know him. He might try to kill me in the back. He might.
What?
He might. You might try to kill me. You might have tried to kill me. I don't know. I don't know you, but I didn't like you. I didn't
Oh
like you.
my
I didn't want
goodness.
nobody to run with, but he forced me. So
I didn't want to run either. I mean,
see what
you were
you
running at
showed up.
5 o'clock in the morning.
You showed up though. You should have just stayed in
5:30.
your shoe and
Yeah, because
started.
Chief asked me if I would run, and then my boy, Captain Bowling at the time, he would say, "Yo, B, just run with it, man. Just run with it. She needs somebody." Okay, you know what? I'm already running at 6:37. I might as well wake up a little bit earlier because I was doing 2 days in. We was getting we was getting it in,
Okay.
but you know, so yeah, I said, you know what? Let me run with this
This
high
air
speed
was your
Air Force. First of all, Air Force. Uh, yeah, and I had seen you before then. You was in the dining facility.
you want to tell.
Yeah, I seen
Don't
you.
pretend that you didn't see me before. I mean, you came over to our building, stand there, come on. Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh, no, I'm good.
yeah. So that was like the second time I seen you. First time I seen you was in a dining facility. And you were with your friends, and you look back, and I was there, and
You still hold on to that story. Hold on
well,
strong.
I'm just
Hold on
saying.
strong.
I'm just saying, we wouldn't be here today if it weren't for that first look.
Oh goodness gracious. So let's focus. So
Yes,
with your military career, what would you advice would you give people about like promotions and how you promoted? Because let's be honest, you made it to the tippy top. You were the top rank, and a lot of people they come in and they don't know. They come in and they just think that something should be given to them,
that's
and you don't
right.
have to know what the real like know the ins and outs. Actually, putting the soldiers first instead of worrying about them, and
Yes,
promoting in the right way. Because everybody can promote, right? But are you willing to take care of the soldiers and show them how you came up, and not
yes,
tell them what to do?
yes. So I think I learned at a early in my career, thanks to some great mentors that I had, and I've always looked 2 levels up because no matter what rank you are, you should be looking 2 levels up, and it's not your immediate supervisor because your supervisor should be looking 2 levels up too.
Yep.
So if you want to gain anywhere and you want to get promoted, you have to say, well, what are they doing? What are they doing that I'm not doing, and how do I get there? And you have to say, okay, well, I need to find me some mentors. And there's a lot of leaders these days who really feel like they don't really have the time to mentor you, or they think about themselves first and they want to hold back the information so that you don't learn it in order for you to get promoted. But I've always believed that if I teach this soldier more than what I know, it's going to allow me a way to move on somewhere else. Because if not, you're going to just be micromanaging. You always got to tell them what to do, and it's not how we should be doing things as leaders. And there's a difference between likership and leadership. And there's a lot of people out there talking about likership. They want to be friends with their soldiers or airmen or whatever, their subordinates, because they think, well, if they like me, then they're going to do it.
Yes.
No, it's just like a parent. If you don't discipline your kids, if you don't really put your foot down, they're gonna run all over you. You're laughing right now. But you have to provide that discipline, but you also have to treat your soldiers, no matter what rank you get to, you have to treat them with dignity and respect. Because at the end of the day, they're not your child. You're just there to help them and guide them along the way. And as you climb that ladder, you start to think, well, I'm a sergeant major. I'm a first sergeant. I'm a colonel. I demand respect. No, respect should be earned. You got to earn that respect from your soldiers. Yeah, you think they don't know what rank you're wearing on your chest? Even in the civilian world, which I see a lot, you think they don't know what level you're at in the civilian world? They know. But that doesn't mean that they're going to respect you. They're going to do the job because they're trying to get paid or they're trying to make rank, but they're not going to respect you. And the biggest, or the number one story that I always tell people about gaining respect, and what I say to people is that, how do you know your subordinates respect you? I'm like, well, let me give you a quick story. In order to build trust within a unit, you have to build teamwork. You have to create these activities and these team building events to gain that trust. You have to know that you care about them. You have to talk to them about, hey, what's your wife's name? What are your kids' name? What do you like to do? Where do you live? You have to get to know your soldier and know that you're going to be there for them, no matter what time of day it is. Truly know that you care about them and their well-being. Mm-hmm. And if there's things that they have going on, you have to say, hey, yeah, it's your anniversary. Go ahead and take the day off early, or take the day off. It's your birthday. Take off. Just make sure that you do everything that you have to do. Do your job first, a day before or whatever, and then you're free to go tomorrow. I'm not here to babysit you. I want to treat you like a grown-up. So do your responsibility. Do what you have to do to take care of you. And I'm going to take care of me. I'm going to take care of you. So that proved to be true. A couple of days, actually April the 4th, actually April the 5th, when we got ambushed and lost those soldiers. Mm-hmm. Because there was a lot of leaders telling their soldiers they're going to go out. They said, get in the vehicle. I don't care. You're going out. And there were soldiers crying, talking about, I got a family, I got kids, I got loved ones. I can't go out there. I got to go home to them. Well, I didn't do that. What I did is I asked for volunteers. And I said, hey, we got to go back out. Yes, I know it's dangerous. We lost soldiers, lost a lot of our friends. It's hard. But there's still people out there that we need to go out there and get. We need to go recover our own. We got equipment down there and all this stuff. So I'm asking for volunteers. Who's going? And I probably had 2 Humvees that stood up. And that's about 8 people, I think. 7 or 8 people. Mm-hmm. Got in a vehicle and we're about to take off. And the soldiers ran out of the building. And it was an old mechanic, like a hangar. That's where our mechanics were at. And they ran out. And one of them got in my vehicle, and I looked back at him, and he says, he's just looking at me, and I says, well, what happened? Why did y'all change your mind? Mm-hmm. And he says, well, it's just Son B. He said, you were always there for us. We were in there talking about it. It's like, how are we going to let Son B go out there in the fight, and we're not with him? He's always had our back. He's always taken care of us. So if he goes out there and fight, and he died, and something happens to him, we're all to blame. So we can't allow that. We have to go out there with him. And sure enough, that's what happened. And I know for a fact, because I've seen other platoons where they went out to fight, and some young platoon leader or some young platoon sergeant never really took care of them, but they want them to fight for them in combat. And guess what happened? They straight up told him, you defend for yourself. If you die, I don't care, sir. You never taken care of us. And that is what's going to happen if you don't treat your soldiers with dignity and respect. If you don't take care of them, you don't show them the love, everything. And that's what I've always believed in. And that's why I learned at an early age, take care of your soldiers. No matter what rank you are, take care of your soldiers. Be a leader. Lead by example. And if you cannot lead by example, maybe you need to hang up your hat. Maybe you need to do something else with your life. But until the day you retire or the day you stop wearing the uniform, you got to give it all that you have, because you represent something that's more than yourself. You represent the entire military. And that's a problem that I encountered as I was leaving. I seen less of that. And I knew that maybe my values and beliefs were starting to change, because it was hard to do my job and to carry on to instill that discipline in the soldiers when I have more leaders on some of my peers that are now not upholding the standards. And if you don't uphold the standards, then that's going to cause lives in combat. We train to the best of our ability. We train as we fight. So if you're not teaching all those and how to instill that discipline, something bad could happen. And you don't want to have that on your shoulders for the rest of your life, because that's what creates PTSD. Because you are constantly thinking, man, I could have done more. I could have told him how to shoot his weapon on that Friday night when I decided to cancel the range and go out and party. Yeah. It's about priorities in life. Do whatever you have to do that's going to save your life. And there's a time and place to party, but right now it's about training. Yeah.
So is anything you would like to share other than what you just shared about?
Well, I could share stories all day. But I will say this, and this is a hard, I don't know what you want to call it, but it's hard to bear and to really soak in, especially all those that are still serving, is that everything in the military that you did is great. But when you get out here in the civilian world, all those awards, all those decorations hanging on the wall, all that Ranger School, airborne, jumping out of planes, getting hurt, and never going to see a medic about it because you decide to suck it up and be hard, that's not going to help you on the civilian world. It's just not. And if you don't get your education, your civilian education, get your certificate. So that's the biggest thing for me is the Army, which I've heard before. I heard you say it too. The Army is going to get everything out of you. Yep. And if you don't get everything out of the military,
yes,
you're cutting yourself short. Yes. Because the day you retire, the day you decided I'm done with the military, I decided to get out.
Yes.
You're on your own. And the only people that are going to be there is the people that are right there. I'm telling you, babe. I would just publicly like to say this. I've seen people that in the office while in uniform, their spouse would call. And they would just look at the phone and say, I'm not going to answer that. I'm going to wait. Go ahead. And I probably have done that before, but you definitely put me in place. You put me in my place. You said, I'm priority. But I was thinking, but babe, the mission, I got to do this mission. I got to take care of these soldiers. I got to get this op order done. I got to do this and I got to do that. But then when you're done, that door is going to shut on you so hard that when you turn around and try to open it, it's going to be locked. And you're like, wait a second, but I did this. I was this person. I was a sergeant major. I was a colonel. I was this and that. That don't matter. Guess what? Pack your bags. Move out. And then now here I am looking at you, babe. Look like, hey, babe. You're like, oh, now.
Don't hey, baby.
Yeah. Oh, don't hey, baby.
Don't baby.
You didn't hey, baby 6 months ago.
Hey. And or calling like, when you leave in the building talking about, I'm leaving now. Leave the phone on, sir. Leave the phone on while you're leaving now.
Oh, no. Yeah, that was pretty much every day.
I can't talk while in uniform. I can't. I got hope. Babe, give me 1 minute. Just give me one more minute.
Yeah. So.
It wasn't there.
Yeah. I just. the last thing I want to say is, no matter what you're going through in the military, always remember that your family is more important. We say that all the time, family first. Yeah. Let me tell you, regardless of what happened, if something happens today and they say, we got to pack up and leave out here in 72 hours, guess where you're going to be at? You're going to be on that plane. So you do everything. When they say your family first, yeah, your family's first. That means you take care of them now, because when we leave, they're going to be set up for success because you've done the right thing. But that's just not enough. So you have to find that balance between a military life in your own family. Because I thank you, babe, for for hanging on to me.
Thank me now, y'all.
I know I was dragging from a parachute on the ground, but you pulled me up and you carried me out. I appreciate that. But yeah, it was fun while it lasted. The best time of my life. But I'm thankful that we both made it, and we're on the other side, smiling and giggling and talking about war stories and how you're trying to check your boy out.
Yeah.
Yes, but thank you for allowing me some time to talk and
Thank
be a
you.
part of everything that you got going on.
Thank you for sharing this space with me. All right, so we're gonna do our next series, and it'll be me and you together doing our
Oh yes, I would love to be with you.
Getting this call now. All righty.
All right, babe. Bye bye.